kings and racists in a continued effort to catch up on my 2-month absence. Also to take away from me endless remastering songs on Suno and my growing need to play FBC Firebreak for whatever reason, I am here to deliver on a request made during my exile. In the beginning stages of the Coomer saga, Elissa Clips foretold of a many cope paragraph sent to her by one John Baldo, due to her not drinking the Kool-Aid and making him look good instead of clipping his words allegedly out of context. I, among others, was able to see these DMs with Elissa's permission, and I come to you to deliver the goods. This is Coomersations Episode 2, the Elbersations. We begin in the early morning of New Year's Eve 2022. Nick has not slept yet and only finally looked away from the locals' wine moms long enough to see that Elissa has made the gravest of sins in the eyes of Baldo. And that is disloyal. In that she is not approving of his Coomer pivot and thinks that wanting to know about your parents' sex life and going to a swingers resort in Jamaica is fucking weird, and not something people should readily be able to know. At this time, she, amongst other women, expressed concern for Kayla, who was amidst her transition into becoming our wife, and legitimately did not speak any ill will towards her. This is not enough for Nick, and takes to Discord to forcibly turn her to the ways of the Baldo.
I just want to point out, you literally call her Lady R's. That's a bit disingenuous. Anyways, Happy New Year's.
Remarkably tame so far. I was going to be surprised that he knew how to still use disingenuous in its proper form. But I had to remind myself this is before he boozed, cracked, and allegedly gassed his brain out in that order. Anyway, Elissa, what say you? And this voice was okayed by Elissa herself. I'm just the one typing shit.
Shit, yeah. This me making light of facts that you have absolutely made your wife sound like a whore. I don't blame her for any of this. It falls on you. You knew better and she deserved better. And ayo, you openly encouraging others to oogle what should be your persona pre and choi. What have you done to make me think it was anything but okay to call your bitch lady hours? The impression is your stanky ass want her to be communal and shit. Day after day, your cracker ass go into that locals chat and openly flirt and drool about other bitches and day nudes. I'm named your marriage. I done know what agreement you twos have in place, but done through students when you're living in a glass hughes. I'ma stop using that phrase, but the person dissing your bitch is you.
Again, 100% okayed by Elissa. She thought it was the greatest decision I could have made. But now we go forward a couple hours after Nick sleeps for 2 hours before driving his kids 12,000 miles to their activities while lusting over wine moms. He's seen that Elissa has the audacity to have a valid argument and cannot wrap his mind around this. In what can only be described as a childish fit of rage, he spends the next hour yelling at her through the phone, and probably at it physically, to make her try to believe narratives that have long been crushed, some mainly by him and his own action with the polycule.
Openly encouraging others to ogle what should be your personal pride and joy. Yeah, I don't think so. I guess we aren't going to see eye to eye on this, but I'm not posting any pictures of her and screaming to the world to jerk off. She posted a couple pictures along with other people who were posting at the time. You act like I made a Playboy spread of her, which is insane.
He kinda did do both of those things.
That was some like 4 to 6 weeks ago, by the way, and she basically hasn't been in locals since. Yet, there's an impression that she's constantly posting lewd pictures. She really never posted a lewd picture by my definition, or that I am.
Letting our wife post pictures of her in lingerie and an ass bottle picture is, in fact, considered lewd by a vast majority of people.
Who developed that impression? You're blaming me, but that narrative doesn't match reality. agreements we have in place. We both appreciate the human body, and we actually like people. We joke around and have a good time with people who like to joke around and have a good time. Neither of us is aiming to pick up anyone. And that context is completely dissolved by other people who have simply decided that we simply must be fucking a bunch of other people because we interact with confidence in each other and the strength of our marriage.
It'd only take another year to dissolve the context derived from his own headcanon when the Imholtists, namely his soulmate April, entered our marriage, and for it to be speculated that our wife allegedly wanted to end the marriage. Meds are stronger than the human will, apparently.
I've talked about this a shitload, and everyone used to agree that Cucksent was super gay. Yet here we have a whole section of people who don't consent to how we interact with other people. And seriously, finding people attractive and having fun, flirty conversations in a semi-public forum that either person can check at any point is not some massive risk.
It's not a risk if you don't care about ruining your marriage. In that regard, a micro W for the Baldo man.
By the way, I've literally always commented on the attractiveness of women on the show. I compliment people who look good. I talk about people's looks and have done so for 5 years. No one commented that was somehow disrespecting our wife before. Yet, now that something changed, she gets to be labeled a whore. Finally, how have I made my wife a whore? I talk about her with the highest praise.
Dragging her to Hado 2 and saying her body is destroyed after having your children sure is weird praise.
I talk about her being more beautiful than ever, that she and I are 100% with each other. The swinging shit and the whore narrative and the bull cuck shit literally comes from other people who got mad that we posted a total of 5 pictures, despite me consistently stating that we are exclusive and aggressively monogamous, despite her stating it and exactly why she posted her pictures.
I'll let all of last year speak for itself.
This is the bullshit of the internet. You can't explain anything. You can't argue. It's a cope, right? You're always mad, right? Both of us have stated specifically what happened and why. It was disregarded, and that was all cope as well. But in case you forgot that this all happened in mid-November, here's what she said.
Thank you very much for sharing, but I have great news. We won't be reading that shit. We really will not read that shit. Boo fucking who for you. Either way, that shit won't be read. Either way, that shit won't be read. Either way, that shit won't be read.
He was, in fact, both mad and coping.
This insane Lady R shit was never from us. I have never, ever expressed desire to step out on her or that either of us would be okay with the other sleeping around. Monogamy has always been the message without exception.
Exception, the toe.
If I made an hour-long video about it, you'd clip it up and call it a cope, and so would everyone else. If I made a 5-minute speech about it, you'd clip it and call it a cope, and you know it. Actually, it's probably happened. So again, there isn't a way to fight the internet or change minds. Hell, there isn't even a way for me to change your mind by talking to you.
And yet, we continue on with this self-admitted charade.
Both of us have said our piece about it, and it is either ignored or mocked. Also, I know you probably don't care, but there's multiple stories of the locals chat saving marriages, helping people recover from forced sexual acts, helping feel good about themselves for the first time in forever.
All of these things did happen, but in reverse. Art the Clown and egalitarian Stain's marriage fell apart Nick became the small dog to the toes lion. They helped out Mandy as an Israeli cross-dressing skinwalker, and C. Goody became a hero in January. Locals is well and truly cursed.
Lots of people reach out and express that the way Lady R and I interact is a big part of that, by the way. It gives them faith that their marriage could have fire in it again. It encourages them to adore their spouse, to tell their partners that they are sexy and desirable.
A channel that primarily covered legal trials should not be a marital compass. Nor should they be giving you tips on how to find your significant other desirable.
I never asked anyone to like anything that I do, but I like what I do. I know what I am, and I know who my wife is. I always try to help people foster good things online. I allow people to freely use my content, and I don't really go after people who have disagreements or criticize me.
Current day, Nick already juxtaposes this.
Again, I'm not really sure what the list of things I did even is anymore, but people have run with the narrative counter to reality for over a month, no matter what I do. So I'm just going to continue being me. Doing anything else is exhausting.
All of 2023 and 2024 would shit on his own narrative counter to reality while he couldn't even be himself with any level of exhaust. I would be ending the video here if it weren't for the fact that he once again reaches out on January 5th and 6th of 2023. Granted, they're short, but the fact he had to follow up twice is just weird. We start with the snippet on the 5th.
You probably don't know, but that wasn't a Wine Mom post. Yeah, it was a guy posting a picture from a soft porn site. It's amazing how moderating a chat more than the locals rules requires is bad. And the Discord was far more gross than that picture.
Lolbertarianism goes out of the window the moment someone disagrees with him, as it's come to be the norm with Baldo. And while he's partially correct on the Discord, it was moderated as judicially as a Minnesota Attorney General keeping criminals in jail in the current day. Unless you posted a woman in a bikini, then God forbid Soter would not be able to police what his kids do until they all turned 25. Anyway, to the 6th, we go with Baldo finally entering the form of the catty, vindictive woman he's devolved into.
Weird how Josh got your revenge porn story wrong. I wonder what else people are getting wrong and why it may be irritating. Coping is weird, isn't it?
To my own recollection, Alyssa didn't really openly talk much about the story being wrong. Primarily because she's somehow smarter than a lawyer, in that you don't openly share your own thoughts on personal shit, or, even worse, go on a live stream to try and debunk it just to prove it, with additional details on top of that. But yeah, I guess coping is weird when you live in a perpetual state of cope to prop up your own deluded worldview over everything. So after a day of deliberating how to actually end the video, here's what I've come up with. Baldo Man Bad. Off topic, I was shown numerous culinary horrors made by Nick and Uncivil Law separately, so if there's any interest of me going over what these war crimes are and possibly improving them, do inform me or tell me that I'm the blackest retard gorilla nigger you've ever seen and stick to the Baldo shit posts. Alright, fuck off, video's over.